Hello, welcome back once again to Part Time. I'm Ryan.
I'm Judd.
And this week we watched...
Blacula, a nice little gem from the 1972 days. Blacula. Blacula is a 1972 blaxploitation film about an African prince by the name of Mama Walde, who is brilliantly portrayed by William Marshall. The film begins with Mama Walde and his wife visiting Count Dracula at his home in Transylvania, where they hope to gain his support in their attempts at ending the African slave trade. In addition to finding out that Dracula is quite an unabated racist, they also discover that he is indeed a vampire. After offering to buy his wife, Dracula bites Mama Walde and seals him into a coffin, where he is left to hear his wife slowly die of exposure in a sealed dungeon. Before leaving him, Dracula curses him and bestows the name Blacula on the former African prince. Flash forward to present day, or more present day of 1972, and there are two men looking into buying the former Castle Dracula. They eventually go snooping down in the recesses of the castle and happen upon Blacula's coffin, where they release the vampire. Upon awakening, Blacula meets a woman who he believes is the reincarnation of his late wife, and then starts to romance her. Amidst the romance, Blacula leaves a trail of bodies and vampires in his wake that eventually leads to a final showdown between Blacula and the police.
So, Blacula. I just want to read something a little bit off here.
It's something.
Urban action and fatal attraction give rise to a groove from beyond the grave in this funkadelic, thangadelic soul cinema sensation. The eternally cool William Marshall puts a fresh spin on the age-old legend of the vampire, condemned to wander the earth with an insatiable lust for blood. So,
solid.
This is Judd's movie. I had never seen this before.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I've heard of it, but also we watched this last night, which was Monday, which was also the same day we both came back from Atlanta from Dragon Con, so we're both tired.
We're both tired.
I know he was asleep during part of it, and I told him to wake up because we had to do this review, and then I fell asleep a couple times later on during the movie.
It's not that it was boring, it's just Dragon Con's very draining on us, so we got back and we weren't probably weren't in the best shape to watch.
I'm still a little tired.
Yeah.
But anyway, we did watch it.
Yeah.
And
this is our first blaxploitation movie that we've done, and depending on if I can find the copy of the sequel, this could be our last. I don't know how into blaxploitation movies you were into.
I don't own any.
This is the only one that I own.
I've seen several. I mean, I wouldn't mind reviewing Foxy Brown or some other ones.
Yeah. I first saw this movie, I was a kid. Like I said, I'm not necessarily... blaxploitation is not a genre that I really have a lot of, but I do remember this as a kid, and I do remember... I remember it being pretty creepy. The main guy who plays Blacula, what's his name? Marshall.
William Marshall?
Yeah, William Marshall. He does a very good job. He's got a very deep voice, and
I really liked his voice.
Yeah,
like it's in the beginning of the movie takes place in Transylvania in, was it 1692?
It's like 17 something.
In 1780, I'm sorry.
1780.
It says on here actually 1780, and that's the first time he goes right into it,
Yeah.
and Dracula is hosting Prince
Mama Walde.
Mama Walde and his wife,
Yeah.
and they're trying to end the slave trade. And
Dracula just loves the slave trade because he's like a white plantation owner almost. Not really, but he's just an oppressive white guy.
But that's the first time you hear his voice, of course, right in the beginning, and he had such a wonderful, like his tone and everything. His voice sounds great, and
he's
just
actually
the way he speaks, it sounded really nice.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously kind of a camp. You would say it was campy film, right? I mean, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, but like I don't know. I haven't read a biography about him, but like he seems to be a very classically trained actor because he can act. I mean, he has that. You could tell he's got like very good acting ability. He has great line delivery and has got a great voice. So and he's got a very. I would say he's got a pretty commanding presence.
Yes, he does.
So, which is what you need in a main antagonist like Blacula, or like not necessarily Blacula, but just for a horror movie villain, I think you would need someone who commands a very strong presence, and he does that very well. But you said that this was the first time you saw it. You'd heard of it,
right? I've heard of Blacula. I've never seen it, but Dracula ends up attacking him and his wife.
First he offers to buy his wife, I think.
Yes.
That was more of an insult to insult him, so he gets in a scuffle with Dracula's henchmen.
Yeah.
Then Dracula's wives show up, seemingly out of nowhere.
Right. They attack.
They just appear, and they're green, by the way, and they look like they have discount fangs from Party City. I mean, I would say most of the makeup effects are decent, but the initial ones you see are bad. Like his wives, terrible. Look like they just smeared like cheap green paint on their face and got like the cheapest set of vampire teeth in their mouths. Like you ever get those party favors with vampire teeth?
Yeah.
It was borderline that. I mean, it might have been a little bit better, but it was bad.
But the Dracula attacks the prince and turns him into a vampire, and they put him in a coffin, and Dracula curses him with the name Blacula.
Yeah. And
they lock the coffin so that he can never escape, and he'll always have a taste for human blood, but he'll never be able to quench it.
Yeah.
And because I guess Dracula didn't like him. I don't know. He locks his wife in there with him too, and they don't ever let her out. So I guess she just kind of died in there.
Yeah, that I don't even know if they ever show. I don't think they show her.
They don't show what happens to her, but she tries to open it, but she can't, and they lock her in this hidden passage.
Yeah.
But anyway, most likely she just dies in there. So then it cuts to present day.
Yeah.
But by present day, 1972.
1972.
And it's back at Dracula's mansion, but he is dead. He was killed by Van Helsing. They say.
Yeah, like hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I say hundreds.
They say there's a couple of guys that are buying the house, and they're planning to sell off all the stuff in the house. The guy tells them it was Dracula's house, but Dracula was killed by Van Helsing, and the house has been vacant. And of course, they don't believe him. They think Dracula's just a legend, and they're also from America. They're not from Transylvania.
Yeah, they're like two American guys.
And so they move all the stuff to America.
Well, yeah,
because they take everything from the house to America.
Yeah.
And then when they go through the stuff, they open up the tomb.
Yeah,
and
there's.
Then they're not paying attention in the tomb, the casket,
the coffin, yeah.
Coffin, and they're not paying attention, and the coffin opens, and Blacula makes his appearance, and he bites both of them.
Yeah, he bites one guy like on the arm because the guy.
Oh yeah, the guy cut himself.
Yeah,
and so the blood
so
he was already bleeding.
I guess he could smell the blood or whatever. Yeah. But like he wakes up and he bites the guy on the arm. Then he bites the other guy on the neck, which is funny because when he bites him, you see like two little red dots, two little puncture marks where he bit him. You know, and like later on in the movie, the coroner was talking about to the cop who was investigating it.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Well, how big was the bite mark?" He's like, "Oh, it tore him like a rabid animal. You know, there was like an inch or two across, and it's like you see the initial bite, and it's just not mangled. But he tells him how horribly just chewed his neck was. You know, like a wild animal got into it. But I thought that was funny.
Yeah, but and that's when the cop goes to see one of the two guys who had gotten bitten by Dracula, or Blacula.
Yeah.
One of the two guys that got bitten
yeah.
by Blacula when he came out, and the cop had come there with I guess the girls knew him too. The cop knew him because the girl that looked like Blacula's wife knew him, and her sister knew
Yeah,
the
her
kid,
like.
so.
Well, the cop's girlfriend, is it his girlfriend or wife? I can't remember.
I don't know. It was his girlfriend or his wife.
Yeah, like she went with him to dig up the grave of the white guy who had been buried.
Well, yeah, that's later on. So I think they're together, and then there's this other girl who looks just like Blacula's wife.
Yeah, so he
which
gets
is a plot point.
hopelessly enamored with her.
Yes.
And it's weird because like Blacula's the main villain, you could say he's the antagonist, but it's strange because it's almost like he's much more sympathetic, I think, than Dracula's ever portrayed. I say ever, you know.
He is. He doesn't.
He doesn't want to turn this woman that he believes is almost like the
reincarnation of his
wife. He doesn't want to turn her. He wants to be with her, and he doesn't want to force himself on her. Like he doesn't want to hypnotize her or use any tricks to get her. As a matter of fact, she was like when he told her there's a point in the movie where he just tells her outright who he is and what's happened to him, and she's like, "Oh, okay," and she takes it rather well, and she's like, "Well, I want to be with you, Mama Waldy," and he's like, "If you want to be with me, it has to be by your choice and your choice alone. You know, I'm not going to force anything on you. You know," and she chooses to be with him. You know, and
yeah. She tells him that she loves him and all that stuff.
Yeah, and
meanwhile, there are several people that have been bitten.
Yeah.
There's a cab driver early on. The first time he tries to chase this woman that looks like his wife, he gets hit by a cab.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
I forgot about that.
He bites her, and
probably just because he was mad.
So she ends up in the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, she keeps yelling at him, and so they get and then there's the strange one when Blacula makes himself known to. When I say makes himself known, they don't know he's a vampire, but he shows up at the nightclub, and he meets everybody the first time, including the girl who, okay. I'm going to go back a second because I lost my.
All right.
All right, the girl who looks like his wife, he takes her purse.
Yeah.
She's worried about it. So apparently, I don't know if there was a scene where it shows where he brings it back to her and says, you know, why he was trying to get her attention.
Yeah.
But they talk about it at the club. She's like, "Oh, he returned my purse," and then she tells her sister and her sister's husband or whatever that, you know, he was just, you know, she looked like his deceased wife, and that was why he was trying to talk to her. So this is when he first meets them all. Well, there's a woman who takes a picture of him kissing the girl's hand.
Yeah.
And this is another person he bites, and he goes to her house and he bites her and attacks her specifically because she took a picture of him, and because he's a vampire, he doesn't show up on the film.
Yeah.
But when he wouldn't know what a photograph is.
That's true.
Because
he was sealed up in 1790.
Yeah.
Or 1780. I'm sorry, 1780. He was sealed up in that coffin.
And he didn't come.
He didn't know
it wasn't until 1972, and even then he wouldn't know what. Even if he knew what a photograph was, he wouldn't know how it affected vampires, because as soon as he became a vampire, he got sealed up.
Yeah, he didn't know the rules on being a vampire. And when it pretty much just got, you know, sealed up and he got unsealed. So like really his knowledge on the whole
It's very
vampirism
interesting.
it should be limited at best because no one was ever around to really explain to him unless he had some sort of previous knowledge about vampires before he got bitten. But
Even
that's
in the
never
photography
discussed.
thing wouldn't. Yeah.
I don't know when the camera was invented, but like,
but
it wouldn't be the same type of camera that that she used in the '70s. That's for sure.
But and you talked about we talked about the first two guys that got bitten. They got
Yeah.
turned into vampires too, except the one that got one of them got buried.
Yeah, the white guy got buried. Is there a
And-
white guy and a black guy?
Yeah, and they went to different morgues or whatever,
Yeah.
or different funeral homes because the black funeral home didn't really get many white people. They
That's
said.
right. The black funeral director was like, the cop was like, oh, where's the other one? And the black funeral director was like, oh, that's a white guy. We don't do white people here. We don't get too many white people
We
here.
don't get too many white people there. So the cop and his wife, girlfriend, go to dig up the white guy, and the white guy attacks him, and they kill him.
Like, and she's flipping out. Like, the cop's girlfriend or wife or whatever, like, like, they literally dig up the casket and they open it up. So she sees that the guy's been in there, and all of a sudden he hops out and he's got fangs and he's all of a sudden green.
Yeah,
because
he's the
vampires turn green in this this universe. So he attacks him and the cop kills him. Well, his wife her girlfriend is sitting there freaking out. She's like, "Oh, you killed him! You killed him!" And I'm like,
Yeah, she was like, "Don't kill him," and I'm like, "What do you mean, don't kill him?"
You pulled him out of a casket, and you see fangs, and he's trying to bite the throat of your boyfriend. Like,
yeah, that was a little funny.
it's like he's like, "I had to kill him." I was like, "Well, yeah, that should be self-explanatory," but she's over there worried about killing the guy, and I'm like, "Really?"
I'm trying to. Well, let's see. So anyway, there's other vampires around that he's bitten.
Yeah.
Some cops, I think, too, get bitten later on.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the cop gets his cop friend so that he can find out about the vampires and see for himself.
Yeah.
Which they find the taxi driver at the hospital.
Yeah.
And that's how the other cop finds out the truth. And so they kill her, I think, then.
Yeah, which her death is kind of weird because they pretty much just draw the blinds because it's like morning time.
Oh yeah, the sun.
Yeah,
kills her.
and the sun comes through, but we don't get really any effect.
There's no special effect
there's
with
no
it. Like she
special
just
effect.
like shies away from the sun and crumples to the ground.
Yeah,
and
she
just
screams really loud and like
She's
goes,
dead.
and she falls over. She's dead. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's no smoke. There's
doesn't-
absolutely no special effect. And really, well, I guess it didn't even look like natural sunlight. It looked like kind of red, like they filmed
I
it
mean,
at night
she
or on a
can-
set, and they just.
It's fine to do
But-
it different. Like it could just be the sunlight touching their skin just makes them die. Their body's still there and they die. But I'm not used to seeing that. I'm used to seeing ash or seeing them burn
sort
up
of,
or something.
Yeah.
So it was a different take, or it was them cheaping out on effects.
Yeah, I'm inclined to believe the latter because later on in the film, not to jump ahead to the end, but like Blacula dies from sunlight, but he kind of roasts down, you know.
Oh yeah, because it shows his.
Yeah,
that's right.
now
it does show
like it could be because he's a more powerful vampire, maybe, and like higher up on the rung that might be.
I don't know.
But either way, you have two vampires dying of sunlight. One just screams and kind of falls over dead.
Yeah, Blacula goes down to a skeleton.
Yeah, Blacula like melts away. But
spoilers.
yeah, spoiler. Yeah.
But
Blacula dies.
but it's okay because there's a sequel. So
Yeah,
he
it's
obviously
okay.
comes back.
Yeah, he obviously. I can't remember how because it's been pretty long since I've seen Blacula scream. But he comes back.
But in the end, the girl is in love with him, even though she knows he's Blacula.
Yeah.
He's the vampire. The cops are trying to stop him because these undead are all these other vampires are now too, and they're attacking people and making more vampires. I mean, there's not a lot to it. They wrap everything up.
They really do.
And they kill the vampires, and
a couple of cops chase Blacula.
and they're chasing Blacula in this building, and they shoot his girlfriend.
Yeah,
they shoot the
they're
girl.
trying to shoot Blacula, but they end up shooting his love. You know, the girl who looks like his dead wife, and she died. No. She doesn't.
Before she's going to die, he bites her.
He bites
so
her.
That she'll. Yeah, he didn't want to turn her, but he turns her.
Yeah, he turns her to save her life, so to speak. Well, when she gets turned, she apparently goes and lays in his coffin.
Or maybe he put her in there to rest.
Yeah,
as soon as
he might have.
He bites her.
Either way, she ends up in his coffin, and the the two cops, go to the coffin, and they think
it's Blacula.
They think Blacula's in there, so he's like, all right. One of them's like, all right, I'm going to yank the top open, and you stake him real quick. So they yank the coffin open, and without even looking, the guy just slams the stake down in there. Well, it's her. Blacula's wife, and she screams, and she's a vampire. She dies.
So she never does much with her vampirism.
No, not at all. So Blacula basically kind of happens upon them because he's running around. Because at this point there's probably about 4 or 5 cops chasing him through this. I don't even know what type of place this is, like an old warehouse or something. Or a new warehouse or something. I don't know. It's something. And
I wasn't paying much attention.
It's really funny because he kills a few cops and doesn't even turn them. He just grabs one of them, just
he
strangles
some
and
of them and
hits him in the head and just throws him aside. And he's dead. But anyways, Blacula comes by, and once he finds out that his wife is dead. I'll call her his wife because even though
it's easier that way.
It's easier that way because when he finds out she's dead, he's just like, well, she's my very reason for living. Now I don't have a reason to live.
Yeah, so he walks up onto the roof and lets himself die.
Yeah, which I actually that kind of works. I mean, it's kind of refreshing to see. I mean, and you could consider it anticlimactic, but It was kind of neat to see just a villain like they had a purpose, and when their purpose was removed, they just because like the cop, I think he starts to pull out a stake or a cross or something.
He pulls out a cross, and then he says that Blacula tells him that won't be necessary.
Yeah, he's like, that's not necessary.
And
so
then he walks up the stairs, and he dies.
Lets the sun kill him, you know. But like I said, I kind of like the different take. I mean, it kind of works, and it really shows how much Blacula loved her. You know, it's sort of a Romeo and Juliet-ish type thing. Like, well, she was the whole reason why I'm living, and she's gone, so I don't have any purpose being here. So he really lost the will to fight. You know.
But that's pretty much Blacula.
That is.
So, Judd, what's your
let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and give it. It's between 2 and 2.5 stars out of what are we doing? 5 stars.
Yeah.
I'll say 2. They do some things right. I do like the soundtrack, but it can get jarbled at times. Like
it's very like.
It jumps
You'll
back
have
and
music
forth.
that'll be the funky 70s style music, and then you'll have
like
more classic horror
almost Hammer House type
music.
score. And I like the music, but like I said, there are times when it seems like one would have worked better in a different situation than the others. Like they mix it up a little too much. I think it's fine to use both. It's just you got to kind of find where they're good and where they're bad. But like the music's okay. It could be implemented better. There are confusing things about it. Like I don't know why Blacula grows like hair like on his cheeks right here when he turns into a vampire. Like when he's Mama Walde, he's just normal, you know. But when he grows fangs, sideburns, widow's peak, and like hair like on his cheeks right here. I don't understand it. It looks very weird. He also his eyebrows grow nearly into his hair. But yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand why vampires are green. Like, we're talking like Swamp Thing green. I mean, especially his wives in the beginning, or Dracula's wives in the beginning, that they are like they're like puke green.
Yeah, they're really green.
Some of the people are lighter shade green, which works a little bit better. But yeah, and I will say, like I said, this movie does some things good. To this day, like the cab driver who gets put in the morgue, she wakes up as a vampire and she attacks the morgue operator. They do a slow-mo shot, and the music that they played while they're playing the slow-mo shot of her basically running to the camera with this creepy like scream. That still kind of sends a chill down my spine. I mean, like, it freaked me out a lot when I was a kid. I think that's a very good like scare scene. I mean, it's a very creepy scene, but you know, it has certain scenes like that that work well, and some of it is campy. You know, and you got a lot of these '70s tropes that they adhere to, but and I don't think it would have worked anywhere near as well as if they found a different actor to portray Blacula. I mean, I think he did probably.
Oh, he was.
I mean,
he was great.
I mean, he felt like he added a little bit more legitimacy to the movie. You know, and if somebody.
I do. I think I would. I kind of wish it was more focused on him, or even made him more of a protagonist. The protagonist. I mean, I like the cop guy too.
Yeah.
But just he was such a great actor in this.
Yeah, and like I said, it's interesting because Blacula, he's the antagonist, but sometimes he's sort of borderline.
Yeah, he's kind of both.
He's
in
almost
some
like
ways,
an anti-hero at times. I say anti-hero. He's not really heroic, but
no,
it's
like he was still killing people.
I mean, he was still killing people, but he kind of had to eat. You know, some of them were just killings because he was mad at them, but it's like
when everything that had to do with him and the woman was very.
It was very. I say sweet. It was, you know, it showed that he does have a conscience, and he's not just this animalistic, you know, killer. But yeah, I would say 2 because if you like blaxploitation movies, this should be in your collection. I think it's a decent made horror movie. It could be better, but I think it's passable as a horror movie. I mean, especially from the time frame it is and the genre it's in, because you don't get too many black horror movies, and this is one of the better ones.
I would I'd give it 2 out of 5 stars as well. I would it's definitely worth watching if you get a chance to watch it, and you I mean, if there's nothing, if you have the time and you want to check it out, I mean, it's worth checking out. Like I said, the acting's good, and you might be a lot more into it than I am, so it might be higher on your list as far as how many stars you'd give it on your personal level, because again, it's just my personal opinion. But yeah, 2 out of 5 stars. It's a solid movie. The acting is not bad in the movie.
I would say just for Marshall's performance as Blacula.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's enough just to watch him playing Blacula is enough of a reason. But if you're interested in blaxploitation movies, watch it. If you have heard of this movie and you're interested in watching it, watch it. But I mean, I think you should check it out. I would recommend the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think I only paid about $5 for this DVD, and I mean, I think it's one of those $5 movies. And
yeah, if you see it for that and you want to pick it up, or if it's on Netflix or Hulu sometime, check it out, I guess.
But overall, like I said, 2 stars. It's decent enough horror flick.
But that's all we have for now, and thanks for joining us again for part time, and we'll see you again soon.
See you next time.
Did they mention much bleeding?
I can't say if they did, Doctor.
What about the other victim, his associate?
Oh, I didn't prepare that one. He was white, you know. I don't get many whites in here.